I used to work the night shift at a small town morgue back in 2002. It was quiet work. Just me, a few metal tables, and the hum of the freezers. My job was mostly filing reports, cleaning, and occasionally preparing bodies for autopsy. Nothing ever really happened there until one night. It was around 2:30 a.m. when the delivery truck came in. A man I didn't recognize stepped out, tall, pale, wearing a gray jacket with no name tag. He told me he was from the county hospital, dropping off a body from a car accident. That wasn't unusual, so I signed the clipboard without checking much. He unloaded the stretcher, covered, zipped up tight, and left without saying another word. When I looked at the paper, I noticed there was no name written in the patient section. Just male, unknown. I shrugged it off and wheeled the body to freezer 3. But as I pushed it in, I noticed something odd. The temperature display was flickering between numbers. 34 degrees, then 70 degrees, then 10 degrees. That had never happened before. When I came back to my desk, the smell hit me. Not the usual chemical, but something faintly metallic and warm. It shouldn't have smelled like that. Then I heard it. A knock from inside freezer 3. I froze, listening again. Knock. 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 The sound was faint, but clear. I tried to rationalize it, pipes maybe, but it grew louder, sharper, like fingernails against metal. I called my supervisor, but no one picked up. I went to the freezer again, and the temperature screen was blank, just black. My reflection looked warped in the metal door. Then, no lie, I saw a handprint appear on the inside of the small viewing glass. I opened the door and shined my flashlight inside. The stretcher was empty. The body was gone. I stood there, my breath fogging up in the cold. Then, from the corner of the room, a voice whispered, "You shouldn't have signed for me." The next thing I knew, I woke up on the floor. My flashlight was broken and the freezer door was wide open. In the morning when the next shift came in, they asked me why I logged a body that never existed. I checked the clipboard again. My signature was there, but the paper was completely blank. No unknown male, no hospital name, nothing. I quit 2 weeks later. Sometimes I wonder if he was even dead when they brought him in, or if I helped deliver something else that night.
It started like any other night, until it didn't. Back then, I thought working the night shift at the county morgue would be peaceful, quiet, uneventful. I was wrong. I was 27 at the time, just a few months into the job. The pay was decent, and the hours suited me. Most nights were the same. Paperwork, body tags, cold silence, and the hum of fluorescent lights. That night, a storm had rolled in, the kind that makes the power flicker and every sound echo longer than it should. Around 2 a.m., I was finishing a report when the power dipped for a few seconds. The generator kicked in, humming its low, metallic rhythm. That's when things started to feel wrong. The morgue has these metal drawers. You've probably seen them in movies. Rows of them, each with a number. But the tag didn't have a name, just a date, the same date, and the word unidentified. Now, that wasn't impossible. Sometimes unidentified victims came in from accidents, but we always logged them before storage, and there was nothing in the system. I checked the logbook, No entries. The drawer number didn't even exist in that night's rotation. I remember standing there, the cold air wrapping around my arms, staring at the black bag. Something in my gut told me to leave, but I didn't. I unzipped the bag halfway, just enough to check the tag again, and I swear to you, the body exhaled. I froze. Not like in movies where people scream or run. No, I just stood there, brain blank, ears ringing. I could smell antiseptic and metal. Then I realized I wasn't alone. From behind me came a soft click, the sound of another drawer unlocking itself. Then another. Then another. By the time I turned around, 3 more drawers had slid open halfway on their own. I asked the night guard if he heard it too. He just stared at me, pale, silent. He'd been standing by the door the whole time. He swore nothing had moved. We checked everything. The cameras, the system, the log. Drawer mine didn't even exist on the monitor feed. I thought it was a prank until I saw the security footage. At 2:03 a.m., while I was doing paperwork, the drawer handle in the background lifted itself open, slowly, mechanically, with no one near it. The next morning, I reported it to the chief pathologist. He brushed it off, said maybe I'd mislogged the drawer, but when I went back to show him, it was gone. Drawer 9 wasn't there anymore. The sequence jumped from 8 to 10. The wall was solid steel where the drawer should have been. That's when I understood what really happened. There had been an incident years before I joined. A technician who died during a blackout. They said he'd gotten locked inside one of the drawers after a mechanical failure. Drawer 9. They sealed it afterward and renumbered everything. No one ever talked about it again after that night. I still don't know if it was real or something else. But sometimes, when I'm on a night shift somewhere else and the power flickers, I swear I can still hear the sound of that drawer sliding open. I was a pathologist at Riverside General Hospital for nearly 20 years. Most nights in the morgue were quiet. Cold, fluorescent light, the hum of old machines. I liked the silence. It made me feel like I was outside of time. But there was one night I've never been able to forget. And I think part of me never will. It started on a Thursday. I remember because I'd just poured a cup of burnt coffee when the call came down. Code blue in the ER. Nothing unusual, but the voice on the intercom was strained. They asked me to prep the refrigeration unit, just in case. I didn't think much of it at the time. The patient was a woman, mid-30s, Hispanic, unresponsive. Her family had brought her in after she collapsed at home. Her blood pressure was crashing. Her breathing was shallow. The ER team worked fast. Intubation, IV lines, everything by the book. But something was wrong. There was a smell, a strange, sweet, metallic odor in the air. One nurse said it was like garlic and ammonia. Another said it burned her eyes. Within minutes, chaos broke out. One nurse fainted. Another grew dizzy. A resident vomited right there in the room. They had to clear the ER, leaving only the attending physician and me watching through the observation glass. At first, I thought maybe a chemical spill, disinfectant or solvent, anything that could react in open air. But the monitors kept screaming, and the woman's pulse was gone. We pronounced her dead at 8:50 p.m. When they rolled her down to me, the smell was still there, stronger now, trapped in the sheets. I handled every kind of body, chemical burns. When I began the external exam, I noticed a faint, oily residue on her skin, like lotion that hadn't absorbed, but it shimmered under the morgue light, an iridescent sheen. I noted it and moved on. Within minutes, my eyes began to sting. My throat tightened. I had to step back. My assistant, Jordan, laughed nervously. He said maybe we were overreacting. Then he started coughing too. I ordered the room cleared. We sealed the doors. Environmental health ran air tests. They found nothing. No toxins, no chemicals, nothing they could name. By morning, 5 staff members were hospitalized. One nurse developed tremors that lasted for days. The hospital went into lockdown. Reporters caught wind of it and called it the toxic woman case. We were told not to talk about it, but everyone whispered. For 3 days, her body stayed sealed in refrigeration. No one wanted to touch it, not even me. But the coroner's office demanded an autopsy. Protocol, they said. I wore double PPE, respirator, gloves, goggles. My hands trembled the whole time. The first incision released a faint hiss, like air escaping from a valve. That same odor filled the room again, faint but unmistakable. Jordan stepped back, his eyes watered. Under the microscope, we found something we couldn't explain. Microscopic crystals in her blood, reflecting under the light like frost. The toxicologist said it resembled dimethyl sulfone, a compound the body produces in small amounts. But hers was off the charts. There were traces of something else too, an unknown solvent. No record, no source, no cause. The official report blamed it on a rare case of natural toxicity, but everyone who was there knew better. It wasn't natural.
A week later, the county ordered all samples destroyed. Biohazard risk, they said. The files were sealed. I was told never to speak of it again. But some nights, when the morgue is still, I think about her. About that smell that clung to my gloves no matter how many times I washed them. About how something inside her turned the air itself against us. And I wonder if we ever truly knew what killed her. People like to think hospitals are sanctuaries, clean, sterile, safe. But I've seen how thin that line is. One unknown variable, one body out of balance, and everything falls apart. I've read the reports, the theories. Industrial exposure, home remedies, black market drugs. None of them fit. She wasn't a chemist. She wasn't part of any experiment. There was no leak, no contamination, just her. I sometimes dream I'm back there, standing over her under those flickering lights. The air hums. The smell returns. Faint, metallic, sweet, and I wake up gasping for air. I stayed at Riverside for another 7 years, signed hundreds of death certificates, learned to keep distance between myself and the dead. But hers never left me. I still see her when I close my eyes, lying still under that harsh white light. It's strange how something invisible can make a whole room fall apart. How one patient can bring down a system
and then disappear into sealed files. People ask me if I believe in ghosts. No, I believe in chemistry. But some reactions, the ones that shouldn't happen, leave scars you can't see. If you ever walk through Riverside's old wing, you might notice the air smells different. A faint sweetness, something burnt, something forgotten. Most people don't notice, but I do.